Hi, this is Mrs. Ziegler, and I am going over your Bellwork question and answers for Friday, October 8th. All right, so first question asks you, what are the four indicators of a chemical change? So remember, in a chemical change, it changes into something new because the atoms rearrange to make a new substance. Well, because atoms are so very small, we need an indicator so that we know that a chemical change has occurred. So the first chemical change is your color change. An example of that, when leaves change color, that means a chemical change has occurred. The next one will be the formation of a gas. That means bubbling, fizzing, suddenly a new odor you smell. That is your formation of a gas. This is not the same thing as boiling, because boiling means that energy is put into the liquid that's causing it to move and do a phase change. So formation of a gas is not the same thing as boiling. Next one would be formation of a precipitate, or what's called, which is a solid. But an example of that would be curdling milk. So if I take vinegar and milk and I mix them together, it will start looking like wet paper, which is curdling, which actually makes buttermilk. But that is a formation of a solid. And the last indicator of a chemical change is your energy transfer, which when you mix like two liquids together, or you mix a solid and a liquid together and suddenly it gets hot, or suddenly it gets cold, or there's a sudden burst of light or sound or heat, those are all energy transfers. All right, so now you have to be able to identify if it's a physical property, chemical property, physical change, or chemical change. Again, when you have a change, that means that you have one of the four indicators. If it's a physical change, that means it's just changing its look or the way it feels, or it's a phase change, it just doesn't make a new substance. If it's a chemical property, that means it's something that can be measured or observed. And then, that's a physical property. A chemical property is the ability to undergo a chemical change. So if you see reacts with, automatically that tells you that you have a chemical property. So the first one is rusting, which is a chemical change because that's changing color. Cutting paper. Cutting generally is a physical change. Conductivity is a physical property because it's matter's ability to conduct electricity and heat. Reacts with acid. The reacts with tells me it's a chemical property. Ice melting, we know that's a phase change, so that's a that's a physical change. Dissolving sugar in water. Anything dissolving is a physical change because I can physically separate the two. I can actually evaporate or boil the water off of the sugar in order to separate the two. Flammable is chemical property because it's the ability to burn, so it's ability to react with oxygen. Density is a physical property. Dry ice sublimating. Remember sublimation, that's a solid to a gas, that's a physical change, that's a phase change. Reacts with water is a chemical property, and then digesting food is a chemical change. Because again, if you think about it, when we're digesting food, it's actually changing into energy. Please remember that today your bell work is due, so you need to make sure that you take a picture of all your completed bell work and submit it into Schoology in order to get credit. If you have any questions, please make sure you reach out.